Namaste and welcome. For centuries, India, a land brimming with culture and riches, drew the attention of global powers. Among them, the British rose to dominance, forever altering the course of India's destiny. Today we embark on a journey through time to analyze the profound impact of British colonization on the development of India as a nation. Our story begins in the early 17th century with the arrival of the East India Company, initially setting up trading posts along India's vibrant coast. Cities like Surat, Bombay, Madras and Calcutta became hubs for the exchange of precious spices, exquisite textiles and other coveted goods. But as the mighty Mughal Empire weakened in the 18th century, a power vacuum emerged, ripe for exploitation. Through shrewd alliances and strategic maneuvering, the East India Company gradually extended its influence beyond mere commerce. A pivotal moment arrived in 1757 with the Battle of Plassey. Robert Clive's victory marked a turning point, establishing the company as a significant political force. By 1765, the acquisition of Diwani rights granted them control over revenue collection in vast regions like Bengal, Bihar and Orissa, providing the financial muscle for further expansion. The company's private army, composed of both British and Indian sepoys, played a crucial role in this territorial growth, engaging in conflicts like the Anglo-Mysore and Anglo-Maratha wars. The initial focus on revenue extraction in Bengal set a precedent for economic exploitation that would define much of British rule. The year 1857 witnessed a seismic event, the Sepoy Mutiny. Fueled by widespread discontent against the East India Company's policies, the rebellion shook British authority to its core. Though ultimately suppressed, the mutiny triggered a fundamental shift in governance. Recognizing the widespread unrest, the British government took direct control of India in 1858, ushering in the era of the British Raj. Under the Raj, India was directly governed by the British Crown through a viceroy. Queen Victoria's proclamation as Empress of India in 1877 solidified this direct link. A centralized administrative structure, new legal frameworks and bureaucratic systems were implemented across the land. While the mutiny prompted a more cautious approach, the underlying goal remained the consolidation and maintenance of imperial power. The British colonization brought about a dramatic transformation of India's economy, a change with both constructive and devastating consequences. One of the most significant negative impacts was deindustrialization. Following the Charter Act of 1813, cheap machine-made goods from Britain flooded the Indian market, while Indian goods faced heavy tariffs in Britain. This led to the decline of India's once renowned textile and handicraft industries, turning India into a supplier of raw materials for British factories. Millions of artisans lost their livelihoods, increasing pressure on agriculture. British policies also reshaped Indian agriculture, driven by the need for raw materials and revenue. Farmers were often compelled to cultivate cash crops like cotton, indigo and tea. New land revenue systems led to high demands, indebtedness and exploitation of peasants. The focus on cash crops often came at the expense of food production, contributing to devastating famines that claimed millions of lives. However, British rule also led to the development of significant infrastructure, including an extensive railway network, roads, canals, ports and telegraph lines. While primarily serving British trade and administrative control, these developments had long-term benefits for India, improving transportation and communication. A crucial aspect of the economic impact was the drain of wealth, the systematic transfer of India's resources to Britain through trade imbalances, taxation and administrative costs. This drain is estimated to have significantly hindered India's economic development. British colonization also brought profound social and cultural changes. The introduction of Western education, formalized in 1835, aimed to create a class of educated Indians to assist in administration. While achieving this goal, it also exposed a section of society to Western ideals of liberty and equality. Universities and schools following Western models led to the spread of modern knowledge. British rule also witnessed social reforms, often influenced by both British humanitarian ideals and Indian reformers. Practices like sati and female infanticide were abolished, and the Widow Remarriage Act was passed, aiming to improve the status of women. Paradoxically, British rule also sowed the seeds of Indian nationalism. The shared experience of colonial subjugation and exposure to Western ideals of self-governance fostered a sense of unity. Nationalist organizations like the Indian National Congress emerged, demanding self-rule. The interaction between British and Indian cultures was complex, involving the imposition of Western norms and a degree of cultural exchange, leading to changes in art, architecture, literature, and social norms. The 20th century saw the intensification of the Indian nationalist movement. Under the leadership of Mahatma Gandhi, the movement adopted non-violent civil disobedience, mobilizing millions. World War II further weakened the British Empire. However, the demand for a separate Muslim homeland led to the painful partition of India in 1947, creating independent India and Pakistan amidst immense human tragedy. The impact of British rule on India's development is a complex and debated topic. While India experienced deindustrialization and a drain of wealth, the British also laid the foundations for modern infrastructure and introduced administrative and legal systems. Socially, they brought about reforms and introduced Western education, which inadvertently fueled nationalist consciousness. The legacy of British rule is multifaceted, a blend of exploitation and transformation. Understanding this history is crucial to comprehending the socio-economic and political realities of modern India, a nation forged in the crucible of colonialism. The British impact on India, a detailed analysis.